Okay, so move on the topic, that is, on the last day I have discussed what is electrophoresis and the what is coagulation. Now we have also discussed what is Hardy-Schulze rule, and that is the amount of the electrolyte required to make the coagulation, and as the amount of electrolyte will be less, its coagulating power will be less. And with respect to this, there was some comparison of the cations and anions. It was also discussed, that is the coagulation power of aluminium 3 plus is greater than the coagulating power of aluminium 3 plus. Let's move the camera. So coagulating power of aluminium 3 plus is greater than magnesium 2 plus is greater than Na plus. It depends on the charge of that species, and also it is true for the anion. Suppose ferrocyanate FeCN whole 6 4 minus, it's having higher coagulating power than phosphate and sulfate and chloride. Phosphate, sulfate is greater than the chloride. This is the impact of Hardy-Schulze rule. That is, as the charge of the cationic or anionic species will be greater, its coagulation power will also be higher. Okay, so this part was discussed on the last day. Now the smaller the flocculation value, what is the flocculation value? That is the minimum concentration of the electrolyte which is required to cause the coagulation is called the flocculation value. Now the sodium chloride, it's having the flocculation value of 51, whereas in aluminium chloride it is just 0.093, whereas in case it is in the case of arsenic sulfide salt. So as the value of the flocculation value will be less, it will be higher coagulating power, it's having higher coagulation power. Now coming to the next section, a few other methods of coagulation. So coagulation is done by electrolyte, it is true. Now some other methods of coagulation. So first one is the mutual precipitation. What is mutual precipitation? In this method, suppose the salt particles have charged itself it. Now if we add some oppositely charged salt, then what happened? They complementarily discharge the charge of the other species, and by this way they become the neutralize their charges. And as the charge become neutralized, so the basic chemistry is that the charge in the particles have to be neutralized, because due to the charged particle there is the repulsion and they are stable in that state. But when the charge will be neutralized, then it will be deposited, that is coagulated. Now with respect to that, one example, that is the mixing of equimolar solution of ferric hydroxide and arsenic sulfide. Equimolar solution of ferric hydroxide and arsenic sulfide, equimolar. So they will mutually neutralize each another, and the colloidal state, that both the colloidal state will be neutralized and it will be precipitated. What have been instructed while, that is it have to be submitted hand to hand. If you have to submitted it handwritten, then you have to give it with channel file, and if not, if you have to send it, then only the no need of channel file, only from the title page you will send. It is depends on the format, that is instruction given. Okay. Now coming to the next point, that is by electrophoresis. So first one was by mutual precipitation. Number 2 is that by electrophoresis. So by electrophoresis, the dispersed phase particle moves towards the oppositely charged electrode, and there is a large application of this, that is the moving of the charged particle to oppositely charged electrode, and as it will move to that, then it will be, the charge will be neutralized and it will be precipitated. So this method is electrophoresis. Next, by persistent dialysis, electrophoresis, that is by persistent dialysis. Now in dialysis, what happened? The dialysis is to remove the electrolyte present on that. Now when the persistent dialysis means, if the dialysis is continued to be, then what happened? All the electrolytes will be liberated from that sample. So as all the electrolytes will be deposited, and in absence of the electrolyte, it is no longer, the colloid particle will no longer be stable and it will be collided, that it will be precipitated out. Next one, that is by boiling. Next one is the boiling. So when we boil some colloidal salt, the molecules of the dispersed phase, as they are moving around, so it will experience greater collision by the molecules of the dispersion medium. So it reduces the charge on the dispersed phase molecules, and as a result they come with close another and get ultimately settled down. Example of this is the butter occurs upon heating. This is the example of boiling coagulation. Next one is the addition of excess of electrolyte. This portion is already studied, that excess of electrolyte. Now addition of electrolyte in very little amount is useful for the stability of the colloid, but if the electrolyte is high enough, that the concentration is high enough, then this charge of the electrolyte particles will neutralize the charge of the colloidal particle. So by this way it will coagulate the colloidal salt. Okay, so these are the 5 methods, that is by which we can precipitate the colloidal salt. One is mutual precipitation, electrophoresis, persistent dialysis, boiling. It is due to the increasing in the force, that is the collision, and excess of electrolyte. So this is the 5 point. Next one is the coagulation of lyophilic salt. Now 2 kinds of salt is there. Coagulation of lyophilic. Now lyophilic salt is stable one, because here a large affinity of the dispersed phase to the dispersion medium is there. Now to that, what are the forces? That is the presence of charge on the dispersed phase particle. The dispersed phase particle are charged, so it is stable, and the solvation energy is high in that case. Solvation or aquation energy, whatever the solvent is it, the energy is high to make the salt. So for these 2 reasons, the stability of that salt. Like that first point, that is the charge in the particle, and number 2 is the stability is due to the solvation energy. Okay, now When we add a suitable electrolyte, the charge on the dispersed phase particle can be removed. I have just told you that the addition of the electrolyte. Similarly, by adding a suitable solvent to the already prepared colloidal sol, dehydration of the particles can take place. Suppose one sol is prepared in water. One sol is prepared in water. Now, if we add ethanol, then what happen? Ethanol having strong tendency towards water, forming hydrogen bonding. So, the water molecule will be adhered to the ethanol molecule, and the concentration that the colloidal particle will feel some kind of deficiency of the water molecule, and at that time they will coagulate with each another to form in the precipitate form. So, first of all, addition of an solvent which having tendency with the previous one, which having tendency with the dispersion medium, can cause the coagulation of the lyophilic sol. For this reason, it is told by adding a suitable solvent to the already prepared colloidal sol. Already prepared, that is the sol, that is aqua sol, any aqua sol, they are coagulated. So, the method for the questions come in that form, that is how to coagulate lyophilic sol. How to coagulate lyophilic sol? Then you will write addition of proper solvent, which having great affinity, with the dispersion medium, which having high affinity to the dispersion medium. This is the next one. What is protection of colloid? So, now up to this we have discussed how to precipitate the colloidal particles. Now, next point is that how to prevent from coagulation. Suppose the blood is a kind of colloidal. So, colloid. So, if the particles of the blood become collided, then the human being or the animal being will be die. So, to restrict this, the process, that is the prevention for the coagulation, is called as protection of colloid. It is defined as the process of protecting the lyophobic colloid from precipitation by electrolytes due to the previously addition of some lyophilic colloid is called the protection of colloid. Okay, discussion will be there. Protection of colloid. So, protection of colloid, that means we have to protect so that it will not precipitate. Now, this is done by adding some lyophilic colloid previous to the addition of the electrolyte. So, first of all, the particles, that is the colloid, is there. Now, if we add electrolyte, then it will be precipitate. But before adding electrolyte, some lyophilic colloid is added. Then the electrolyte. So, first step, the colloid is there, then some lyophilic colloid is added, and then the addition of electrolyte. So, first point, that is the addition of lyophilic colloid, and second point, then add the electrolyte. Then it would be one stable colloid. The small amount of gelatin is added to the gold sol it is not readily precipitated by addition of sodium chloride. So this is the example. So gelatin is works here. It is a lyophilic colloid, gelatin, and if the colloid is gold sol, suppose it gold sol, gelatin is added, and some as electrolyte sodium chloride is added. So this helps them to make a protecting layer, and then the effect of sodium chloride will not works on that, so that the colloid becomes stable. So the lyophilic sol which protects the colloid is called the protecting colloid, and the lyophobic sol is called the protected colloid. So we have come to know about how to protect the colloid, that is the lyophobic colloid, and lyophilic was already done by adding suitable solvent. So lyophilic colloid, addition of lyophilic electrolyte, and then the electrolyte. Clear? Now coming to the next topic, what is the gold number? What is gold number? Zsigmondy is the scientist. Gold number. Now gold number, just recap once the flocculation. Flocculation was the minimum amount of electrolyte required to stabilize the colloid. Now gold number is also the same kind of concept. It is the, by definition, it is that the number of milligram of protective colloid, the number of milligram of protective colloid required to just prevent the coagulation of 10 ml of a given gold sol when 1 ml of 10% solution of sodium chloride is added to it. So the electrolyte here is 10% solution of sodium chloride, and what is the sol? Is the gold sol. Gold sol. What is the amount of gold sol? It is the 10 ml. 10 ml gold sol and milligram of protective colloid. So 10 ml gold sol will be there. Here the amount of milligram of protective colloid. Just for example, the albumin or the gelatin, these are works as a protective colloid. So the milligram of protective colloid required to stabilize the 10 ml gold sol, where 10 ml or 1 ml of 10% solution of NaCl will be added. So this is the electrolyte, this is the lyophilic colloid, and it is the lyophobic colloid. Okay, so this is the gold number. Zsigmondy, the scientist, told about this gold number. Now the definition, we have to make a clear concept, that is the amount, that is the amount in milligram of the protective colloid required to stabilize 10 ml of gold sol, where 1 ml of 10% solution of NaCl will be added, is called as gold number. Okay, now the emulsion is deducted from your syllabus. Here emulsion is the colloidal solution also, in which both the dispersed phase and dispersion medium is the liquid. Emulsion is of two types. One is oil in water and water in oil. So oil in water, that it cannot be diluted by adding water, but the water in oil in water, it can be diluted by using water, but oil in water, it cannot be diluted with water. So milk is an example of oil in water. For this reason, the addition of water is easier to dilute the medium, but it will not be possible in case of the reverse one, that is water in oil type of emulsion. Next, some examples of colloid around us. Already told, the blood is an example of colloid. Now the blue light, blue color of the sky, blue color of sky, it is the light rays are deflected by the particle, that is the aerosol, that is the gas particle, the dust particle present in that. So it will reflect the light particles, that is the light rays, the scattered rays, and due to the scattered rays we see the blue light. Next one, fog, mist and rain, these are also the examples of colloid. Fog, mist, these are when we have classified colloids in 8 kind, there was the example of fog, mist, they are aerosol, etc. And rain, and last one is the artificial rain. Artificial rain is that, suppose there is a charged cloud, but if the charge is not neutralized, the charge on the water particle is not neutralized, then it will not be down. That means if its charge is neutralized, then the rainfall will be there. So by using some electrolyte which is sprayed over the cloud, so that the charge become neutralized, and by this way artificially rainfall can be occurred, and the sudden downpour, a heavy downpour, is also by the collision of two clouds where the oppositely charged particles were there, so that they mutually precipitate each another or mutually discharge each another, so that a heavy downpour at the very small time will be there. That is called cloud burst. Okay, formation of river delta. River delta is also a kind, because in the delta, that is in the sea water, it is the presence of some electrolyte is there, and due to the presence, the colloidal particles get coagulated and produces the river delta. And soil, specifically the kind of soil, that is humus, it is act as a protective colloid, because it is the colloidal nature, and soil has the capacity to take up electron and nourishing the materials like fertilizer, which are very much essential for growth of the plants. So soil in out of the periphery, it producing a layer, that is the humus basically, and which helps to grow the plant. Food articles, that is ice cream, fruit juice, and the medicine, because medicine are found in the colloidal form, it will be applicable so that the surface area will be larger in case of colloid, so it will works better. So these are the colloid application of colloid around us. That is some example. Now application. Application of colloid. Already we have studied this in different name, but here some industrial applications of colloid we have to see. That is, one is Cottrell precipitator, COTTRELL precipitator. It is used in the industry to purify the air, that is the smoke produces. This is to purify the smoke. Here a large voltage difference is generated, and as the colloidal particles are charged in nature, so in presence of the charge, it will move to that opposite direction so that they becomes precipitated, and we will get the fresh air, that is the smoke, which is no further polluted. This is the Cottrell precipitator, and the voltage difference between the two electrodes is 50,000 volts. Next one is the sewage disposal. Sewage, it is the particles of dust, rubbish, mud, etc. Mud also, when it dissolved in water, it is also in colloidal in nature. So it carries charge, and when it is neutralized on creating an electrical field, a sewage tank is in the sewage tank producing some electrical field so that the oppositely charge become neutralized and settle down. Purification of river or lake water for domestic and industrial use. Lake water contains some soluble, some haziness is there. Okay, so it is the presence of some clay particles or etc. Now for this, the aluminium sulfate, that which can coagulate the particles. Stoppage of bleeding from a fresh cut. You can see the use of the alum in case of freshly cut. It can clot the blood immediately because of the works as an electrolyte which will stop to coagulate, which will helps to coagulate. Next, electroplating of rubber. Now electroplating is not only the layer of a metal is there, it is also a layer of rubber may also be deposited, and here we will use the latex. The colloidal solution of latex is negatively charged rubber particle in water. So latex is the colloid, it is the rubber particle in water. It can be deposited on the surface of certain metals by electrophoresis. This is the electroplating of rubber. And also in the industry, that is tanning industry, the animal hides are of colloidal in nature, that the bark, when hide with positively charged particle is soaked in tannin, which contains the tannin itself having negatively charged particle. So the mutual coagulation occurs, and this results in the hardening of the leather. Okay, so the process is called as tanning. Chromium salt also been used in place of tannin. So you can see that a large application of colloid and its processes, that is electrophoresis, the coagulation, and a large application. And also cleansing action of soap, that is we have already started what is micelle. It is also due to the formation of a colloid so that the oil particles become distracted. Photographic plate of film, that is a solution of as we know that silver is very sensitive, and silver bromide is used in the preparation. Silver bromide prepared in gelatin is generally applied on the photographic plate. And industrial products, that is the synthetic paints, rubber, lubricant, adhesive inks, all are of colloidal in nature.